Hello everyone, back to tune into today's fourth video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days for today's fourth video. Day 10 will take us to the 12th of December, and we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the GFS and ECM Ensembles. Maybe runs around a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at the CFS V2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks, and that will get us more or less to the end of December. Now, I shall get to that for you in a moment. Just to say that the first video today was our 6 AM UK weather forecast, with also release the weekend forecast and the EC 42-dayer as well for UK and Ireland. Please check out those two videos if you'd like to do that. Like, share and subscribe on all today's videos and content, and thank you so much everybody for doing that. I'm running quite late today because I've been out and about. I've actually been by my Christmas tree for the tower, so I've been doing nice Christmassy things today. I'm a little bit late with today's 10 to 14 day. Just to say that later on this evening we might have snow watch or a Christmas update. I think it'll probably be snow watch. I think there is just some snow tonight will supersede the Christmas update really, so I think that's the most important one to release this evening. So snow watch could well be appearing for you later on this evening. And I'll tell you what's happening on the channel tomorrow. Big day tomorrow. Tell you what's happening on the channel tomorrow at the end of this video. Right, let's start off with the latest temperature observations from XE Weather. An ice day is being recorded across many parts of the country. Temperatures staying at or below freezing all day across many areas. The lowest temperatures up there at Abbeymoor, where it's only -5 degrees. However, we come further south, Teesside, for example, just -1. East Midlands Airport, just at -1. Church Lawford, just at -2. Oxford at -3. Wow. Odiham at -1. Biggin Hill at -1. London Heathrow, look at that. Usual hotspot, only -1 degrees at 2:20 this afternoon. Over into Laken, Heath -1 there. Norwich -1 as well. Humberside -1. So many of these central and eastern regions see a temperature on the negative side of freezing. This is a little bit milder out west, or less cold. So we've got Capel-Curragh at 1 degree, Aberporth at 4 degrees, Northwick at 5 degrees, Cardinham at 5 degrees. Land's End is at 6 degrees, and up to Northern Ireland we've got Belfast at 3 degrees there. 10 degrees down there at St Mary's. It is a little bit milder down from far southwest, but generally it's a very cold day across many parts of the country. I don't see the temperature rising much above freezing now in most central and eastern regions. So 2nd of December, and we're already getting an ice day. CT is in for the first day of December. Look at this. I don't see this these days. The third day of the month came out at -0.5, which was 5 degrees below 61 average. Normally we get 5 degrees above above the 61 to 99 average these days, don't we? But there we go. For the first day of December, we are at like 5 degrees below average. And that will drop, I think, when that updates tomorrow. That'll be even lower. I would imagine that'll be in the -1s tomorrow when we take today's very, very cold temperatures into account. After that, it should gradually start coming back up. So I'd imagine by this time next week, we'll probably be around 2 or 3 degrees, something like that. We'll keep you posted. Then we'll CET Saturday. So, of course, central temperature is the oldest and most reliable temperature index anywhere in the world, going all the way back to 1659. Of course, that go more unreliable it gets, though. We come down to the current year. So this, of course, is 2023. Just here, starting off with January at 5.2, and the latest number in November, we confirmed this yesterday, came in at 7.4. Well, last year we had a pretty chilly December, actually, at 3.4. I mean, like 30, 40 years ago, that wouldn't be all that noteworthy, but for this modern era, 3.4 is actually quite a cold temperature for the December CT. Before that, though, had a very mild December in 2021 at 6.3. 2020 at 4.9 was a little bit cooler. 2019 was quite mild at 5.7. Exceptionally mild December in 2018 at 6.8. 2017, a little bit cooler at 4.7. There was some snow with that. And 2016 at 5.9. That was a very mild one as well. For a long time, the warmest Decembers on record were jointly held. And they were held between 1934 at 8.1 and then a little bit more recently than that in 1974. Which has actually been downwards corrected now by the UK Met. I'm not sure why, but for a long time, that's 7.9 there, but for a long time we had December 1974 and 1984 both standing at 8.1. They were jointly held. They jointly held the CET record. However, that was absolutely obliterated, of course, by 2015, just here, which actually came in with a centering temperature of 9.6. So it didn't just beat 2015, didn't just beat previous record in 1974 and 1934. It absolutely smashed and obliterated it and came in over a degree above. So that was an extraordinarily warm December. I'll be surprised if we beat that anytime soon, to be honest. Even in this modern warm era, that was very, very exceptional. But it was only a few years before that, but it had an extraordinarily cold December. In 2010, had December central temperature of minus 0.7, below freezing. It was for December, do you remember? I'm sure so many of you remember it very clearly. The severe cold, heavy snowfalls on and off throughout. But it was so close that to being the coldest December on the CET record. But actually, the coldest December on CET record is way back in 1890. This year just here, which came out just 0.1 of a degree colder than December 2010. It came out at minus 0.8. And you know, I've always said, but if, because I remember I'm sure you remember what happened in December 2010. The cold faded out just after Christmas, so it was very, very cold at Boxing Day. The 27th of December saw the thaw, and by sort of New Year, temperatures were back, still quite cold because the ground was so cold for road still, but temperatures were back closer to average. We was losing a frost. I've always said, but if that cold spell had started, you know, like 2, 3, 4 days later, because it actually began in the final week of November. If it had happened, you know, a couple of days later, I think we would have got the record there. I think we could actually have come in at like a -1 CET December if that cold spell had started just a couple of days later. But anyway, it was an extraordinary month in December 2010. And it's so strange that, like, December 2010 was so cold, and December 2015 was, like, so mild, so warm. And they're like the flip of one another between sort of 5 years or more. Other notable Decembers, well, I'm sure a lot of you remember the cold December we had in 1995, just here, at 2.1, followed by another cold December in 1996, 2.7. But there were some quite chilly Decembers in the 90s and into the 2000s. 1988 was exceptionally mild December, 7.3, one of the warmest on record. 1981, of course, was very cold. That one came out at just 0.1. That was almost a sub-zero CT month, just avoided it. And we did have a very cold December in 1976 as well, just here at 1.8. What about the daddy of cold winters? What was December like with that one? It's December 1962. So that was cold at 1.8. Very cold month, but of course it got even colder in January and February. Both of those were sub-zero CT months. So that coldest winter since 1740. Of course, we did have quite a cold December as well in 1950, just here, 1.2, about kind of on a par with 1982. And then, of course, we've got the frozen 40s. So, 1946-47, the daddy of snowy winters, had a December CET of 3.1. Got colder into January at 2.2. And then, of course, it's February that was exceptionally cold and snowing at -1.9. And, of course, 39-40 just here. So December 1939 had a CT of 3.2, which then became negative in January at minus 1.4 there, and February was also very cold at 2.6, but the highlight of that winter was sub-zero CET January, which was the first sub-zero CET month for 45 years. You'll have to go back to 1895 to find a sub-zero CET month before January 1940. Anyway, we'll talk about January for CET Saturday next month. So coming back to this year, it's going to be interesting to see where we end up with December. Of course, we're negative at the moment, but it is only for one day. We'll be even more negative though after 2 days. Then recovery will take place over the next week. So it's going to be interesting. I'd be surprised if we have an exceptionally mild month after such a cold start, to be honest. But we could still come in above average, even though the first 2 or 3 days are going to be very cold. We could still come in with an above average month, but I doubt. I mean, I doubt we'd have a 2015. Let's put it that way. It looks unlikely, but we could get to 9.6 already from where we're starting off at minus whatever it was. So let's wait and see. Anyway, let's wait and see where things go, and we'll keep you updated. Right, these are the 5 at CET Saturday. I hope you enjoyed it, everybody. These are the 5 millibar height on flow charts from Penn State University for next week, 10 days. We've got the ECMWF on the top, and the GFS is on the bottom. So 500 millibars, 80 pounds feet. There's an area in actual high pressure, low pressure. I've been moved around by a jet stream running above. Orange to red extrapolates to above average height, which is high pressure. Blue to below average height, which is low pressure. These are the means for the 7 to 10 day time frame. So you can see that with GFS, I'm going to change the colour, with GFS, we're bringing below average height, which is blue, because that deep low pressure coming in from off the Atlantic with the ECM, I should say, looking very unsettled in the 7 to 10 day time frame. What is of note here, though, is all the red and orange within high latitude. So we've got still quite a lot of blocking up towards Greenland, although more over toward the Canadian side of Greenland now, or in the 7 to 10 day time frame. Notice this big ridge here as well. Large area of high pressure. That's the Siberian High, backing all the way from like the northwest of Russia, right way through the Urals, and back to Siberia. Now, under that, they're going to be extremely cold air. This trough of low pressure just here. It's not quite lining up to deliver anything cold to us. The coldest air with that is going down into Asia and whatnot through here in southern parts of Russia. But with the Siberian High looking so strong, and we're blocking around there, it's not inconceivable that if the low pressures of a jet stream start going in that direction, that these two ridges, these two blocks, I suppose, the Greenland block and the Siberian High, it's not inconceivable that those two areas of high pressure could start getting together, and if that happened, then we could potentially start thinking about bringing the wind from an east or northeast direction. It's not there yet. Last night's GFS 18 today, the pub run, was hinting at that in its extended range. Did something like that. Backed off that this morning, but we do need to keep a watchful eye, I think, on what's happening here. And just say the Azores High, by the way, is just there. So that's the Azores High. It is a little bit southwards displaced from its north position. Normally, it's around here, of course, and bring up mild air in that direction. It's a little bit displaced, you know, to more towards far north of Africa and far south of Spain at the moment. The Shabby ECM is looking, in terms of the 500 millibar heights on the flow charts, we're getting a low pressure in off the Atlantic in the 10-day time frame. No one talk about this. I have a GFS. I'm getting my E mixed up. So this is a GFS. So again, low pressure in the Atlantic, high pressure a little bit further north, in towards Spain, and still with that high pressure up across Russia and into Siberia, and the block over towards the Canadian side of Greenland. Just a little bit further northwards, I think, with the GFS compared to the ECM midnight run. But they're much of a muchness, really. As I say, all of this orange and red that's going on around here, we need to keep an eye on it and see where things go. This will also be helping later on in winter to potentially produce an SSW as well, Southern Stratospheric Warming Event. Right, these are GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles in a couple of weeks. Red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average for Coventry. We're starting off colder than average at the moment. Going to be a little bit up and down over the next few days. Hold on. No, sorry, buddy. Going to be a little bit up and down over the next few days. But by the end of the coming week, we are milder then. And then we go through the second week of December up to the middle of the month. Lots of scatter. You'll notice the big green line to the GFS 6N operation run. That really takes off and becomes a very mild outlier on this update. I'll show you that in a moment. I think generally hovering close to or a little bit above average through this second week of December. Looks unsettled as well. Lots of precipitation spikes to come in Cov over the next few days. Initially, that might produce a little bit of snow. Tonight, going to be mostly rain, cold rain, and then after that plenty of wet weather to come into the second week of December as well. Snow row for Coventry looks like that. Not great actually, so a little bit potentially tonight, but not too good for Carl. I think the greatest risk of snow will be further north and west, and then not much happening, so a little bit disappointing from a snow perspective there for Coventry over the next couple of weeks. Temperature anomalies from the 2nd to 10th of December. Cold average in the north, just a little bit above average now. Down in the south, most parts of Europe still looking very cold, especially northern Europe and into northwestern Russia. That's the influence of Siberian High, of course. Precipitation anomalies from the 2nd, 10th of December, above average. So a slightly less cold and milder, slightly less cold, milder and wetter week to come. Driving average in far northwest of Scotland. Latest Windflow Map from earthnullschool.net shows that we've got a little trough that's moving in from the west today. That brings risk of rain, sleet, snow tonight. And then this bigger area of low pressure just here will become the driving force of the weather in a few days' time. Right, so this is how Malaysia UK Met Euro run is looking big night on Tuesday. So low pressure then sitting over the low country, still pulling in quite cold winds from the north and from the northeast into the middle of the week. Then a ridge of high pressure through to Wednesday before the next low rattles in on Thursday. That one brings the change to milder conditions. Winds turning round to the south. Will be a gradual process, but by the end of next week, the Atlantic westerlies have broken through, and we're back into a much milder, or certainly much less cold, sort of west or southwest wind. That takes us into next weekend, where it's looking very unsettled. Low pressure over the country, and another deep low in the Atlantic, waiting in the wings to start sweeping in. Icon, again, looking like that. Low pressure over low countries on Tuesday, bringing in this quite cold northeasterly wind. Then we get a ridge of high pressure through to Wednesday, but low pressure's back in Wednesday through to Thursday, bring outbreaks of rain in with it, and also introducing a milder southerly to southwesterly flow. That's how we end up with Icon. So low pressure is waiting in winds therefore next Saturday to give us a wet and windy start to the weekend. Notice though the high pressure up to the northeast. That again is the extension from the Siberian High. You can envisage this is northwest Russia, so if you went all the way back up there into the Urals, into Siberia, you will find eventually, you know, but Siberian High is even stronger, but it's just there. But it is an intense high pressure there, 1,055 millibars, and we're not all that far there from bringing in an easterly wind. It would only take this low to start going in that direction, northwest to southeast, to start opening the door back up to an east. That's the kind of thing last night GFS 18 said was flirting with. GFS midnight run, again looking unsettled on Tuesday. That area of low pressure over into the east of the country, then a ridge building in its wake before more low pressure sweeps in from off the Atlantic. Then we're off and running into a very unsettled spell as we go through into next weekend, and then into the following week, day 10, that's the 12th of December, looking really unsettled as well. Low pressure back in control. Bit of a ridge starts building then. We get through the 13th of December, trying to get Scandinavia, but there's too much energy in the Atlantic to allow that to happen, and so the upshot is the ridge just starts slipping away to the east. Low pressure in west. Actually draw up really quite a mild southerly to southwesterly flow there as we go into the middle of December, before more low pressure coming back in. That's as far as we get to the 18th of December. Notice high pressure is still lurking just to the east of the northeast, but the Atlantic at this stage is still too strong to allow any any sort of easterly in. So GFS 6N is looking again. The low pressure is over the low countries on Tuesday. More low pressure in the Atlantic. These areas of low pressure come sweeping in across the country through the middle part part of next week. You'll notice even as far as Thursday, 6 a.m. Thursday, winds is still coming from like a southeast direction in the north. So it's going to be a slow old do to get these milder winds through to the north and to the northeast. And even by Friday, northern Scotland still has a bit of an easy wind, but gradually through the week, the west-southwest winds will encroach, and then that takes us up to day 10 when low pressure is still dominating. Notice high pressure is strengthening around France, Spain, Portugal. This is how the GFS SITSET becomes a mild outlier. So it starts dragging up the air from the Azores here with high pressure to the south, to the southwest, and we go to long fetch southwesterly. To get to the end of the GFS SITSET, it just looks like high pressure is increasingly getting a foothold on the weather. It's a mild ridge, but, you know, by that point, 18th December, there could possibly be an inversion or something going on with frost and fog, but essentially that is a mild bridge that's built up from the south there. Right, if you enjoyed the video, please can you like, share, subscribe, and show everyone's doing that. Why not drop a comment and let us know what you think about this or that video. Don't forget to tell friends about GavsWeatherVids. Thank you so everybody for doing that for us. We need to put on just 50 subscribers, 50, to get to 17.4k. So if you could give us a sub and tell your friends and family to subscribe, it would be amazing. And it would be incredible, and we will thank you so much for doing that. GM, again, with low pressure over the Low Countries on Tuesday. More low pressure waiting in the Atlantic. Low pressure then starts moving in through the middle of the second half next week, bringing further wet weather in with it. Bit of a change with the GM, in that heights are still relatively high, actually, up towards southern Greenland and Iceland. And this eventually starts pushing the low pressure back southwards and eastwards again. And that's the setup with GM by day 10. We're back into colder air from the north again. Quite an interesting setup, actually. So we've got a bit of a ridge in the Atlantic. Notice again, the Siberian High is up to 1,060 millibars now. Very intense area of high pressure city there over Russia. And that is sort of trying, anyway, to retrogress in towards Scandinavia and bring us an easterly. So the GM not all that far away from returning us to cold easterly winds there by 12th of December. And then the ECM looks like that low pressure once more is sitting over the Low Countries on Tuesday, bringing in this chilly and damp northeasterly wind. Then we bring low pressure in from off Atlantic. It is a bit of a slow do, push some mild air through, but eventually by the end of the week, mild southwest winds are breaking through, bringing outbreaks of rain in with them. Next weekend, looking very unsettled, low pressure driving in from off Atlantic, bringing bouts of rain, but at least it will be milder, and that's how we're set up at day 10. So it looks like we're about to try and start pulling up some very mild air from the southwest there at day 10 with the ECM. This is a Precipitation Forecast based on that ECM run from TibetShow.com. So tonight's event, and we haven't talked about that in this video, reason being, I think we're going to update Snowwatch this evening. So I'm going to leave that alone till we update Snowwatch of this thing based on the 12th runs. But this is how the ECM is looking anyway for tonight. So the main snow event is across northwestern parts of England, actually, but there is snow down into the Midlands and eastern England. Even a little bit of sleet and snow potentially pushing through more southern regions, actually. So that's 6 a.m. and they go through to big day tomorrow. Most of the rain turned back to sleet and rain then. Just damp, drizzly, really, probably a lot of fog and murk around. And then it turns very wet overnight from Sunday to Monday. And so that turns to snow again, actually, across parts of Wales, the northwest Midlands, and into northwestern England. Potentially, Monday morning could be another bit of a snow event in the northwest. Otherwise, lots and lots of heavy rain further southwards and eastwards. That's heavy snow on all day in the northwest there, or all morning anyway, on Monday. Elsewhere, just lots and lots of cold rain, really grim day, I think, on Monday. Then go quieter into Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we bring low pressure in off the Atlantic, so that turns to snow on the leading edge, but then we'll turn back to rain, and then we're opening the door to the Atlantic, so you'll see bouts of wet weather piling through there. That's a setup for day 10. These are the options on the table within the ECM Ensembles today for day 10. From ECM.int gets 12th of December, 17 members of the ECM Ensembles with low pressure to our north and northeast, winds on a northwest southeast alignment, so unsettled and potentially a bit on the chilly side with that one. We've also got 15 members of the ECM Ensembles ensembles with low pressure over top of the country. So again, that could be unsettled, probably a bit milder. We have got at day 10, 14 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure way to the northwest, low pressure in the Atlantic. That's looking very messy, but probably quite chilly, with winds still coming in from something of a northerly direction. And then we've got 5 with low pressure in the Atlantic and bringing those west to southwesterly winds in 2 at a time. These are the options that we've got. It will get us to the 17th of December, beginning to go post-Christmas, with 14 members of the ECM ensembles in the Atlantic, bringing this west to southwesterly wind. We have got 13 members of the ECM ensembles, very interesting, high pressure blocking to our north there, and that will bring in a cold northeasterly wind just a week before Christmas. Wow, wow, wow. We have got 12 members of the ECM ensembles with a mid-Atlantic ridge extending up towards blocking to the north, low pressure in the North Sea. That will be bringing in a cold northerly wind, and that will probably go in the same direction as the option before. So you will probably get these two ridges building to one another and forming a block away to the northwest, with this trough to the south of the east that will bring the wind in from the northeast. So if we assume that that the 12 there is going in a very similar direction to the 13 there, then that gets us to what, 25, almost half of the ECM ensembles look like they're turning things colder there in 2 weeks time. And then we've also got this option, 12 members of the ECM ensembles, again kind of similar. A little bit less cold with that option probably, but with high pressure way to west, low pressure to the east. The wind at the very least is sort of northwesterly, so that's quite chilly as well, to be honest. Now, we might get cold, we might get cold back in again, actually, into the second half of the month. We'll have to wait and see. CFS V2 beats a 500 millibar height anomalies breakdown into week periods. The first week period takes us from the 2nd to the 8th of December. The next week, we'll have blocking away to the north, low pressure to south and east, still looking cold in the next few days, but gradually low pressure coming up from the south, turning things less cold into week 2, which is the 9th to 15th of December. Low pressure's way to the west, winds coming up from west or southwest direction. That is unsettled but milder. Week 3 is going to be the 16th, 22nd of December. Low pressure again in the Atlantic, winds coming in from the west. And then finally, week 4 it's the 23rd to 29th of December. Low pressure then over slightly to our south and east. High pressure may be coming back towards Greenland, and could that be starting to bring the wind back into a colder northwesterly again. What you would need to happen there is that this ridge would need to go in that direction and force the low pressure in that direction. If that happened, we would open the door to cold northerly winds. Possibly quite an interesting week for CFS 500 millibar height anomaly there. Last thing I want to leave you with is the stratosphere. So at the moment, we are having a minor warming of the stratosphere taking place over Siberia. These yellow colours just here. Meanwhile, over the Arctic North part itself, though, the blue and purple colours still remain. So temperatures remain very, very cold over the Arctic and North Pole. Over the next week or so, that warming from Siberia will push into Canada. It's a modest, minor warming, but is enough to kind of displace the PB a little bit over towards our side of the Arctic and the pole. And then we see the warming actually strengthening. I'll get to that the 12th and the 13th of December. Look at this, quite a significant warming there. That's still short of an SSW kind of temperature level you'd need to get to SSW. Remember, on these charts, SSW temperature levels go into the reds. Nevertheless, that is really quite significant warming. It's only the 13th of December. This is the main point about these warmings that we're seeing here. Whilst they're not SSWs, and they're nowhere near enough to disrupt the PV really in any way other than displacing it a little bit at its roots. It's still very, 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 very early days to be seeing any kind of warming, and all of these sort of minor ones will be helping to soften up the PV, you know, for what could happen later on in the winter. If we get a major midwinter sudden stratospheric warming, the PV is already being displaced, already being moved around, softened up, ready perhaps for a very significant warming of the stratosphere later on. That's the 18th of December as far as we get to. Still looking pretty warm over on the Siberian side of the Arctic and into Canada again as well. Displacement again of PV over onto the Atlantic and Northern European side of the Arctic and the pole. That shape of PV is still well and truly in business, but it is being moved around. It is being disrupted slightly at its roots there in terms of the displacement, and I reckon, you know, softened up. I would describe it as it's being softened up potentially for later on in the winter when things could get a lot more interesting, but we shall see about that. And we're done. If you enjoyed the video, please could you like, share and subscribe. Don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids, and why not drop a comment, let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. A long video today, half an hour, but we had a lot to I had a lot to share with you. Hope you've enjoyed it. So the plan is that we're going to be doing perhaps snow watch this evening, and then tomorrow we are going to have 6 AM UK weather forecast. But it's the big one. Talking about later in winter is the big one. It is the GavsWeatherVids Winter 2023-24 forecast. We're premiering it at 2 PM here on the channel, so I shall see you on the red carpet, maybe about half an hour, half one, something like that, for the premiere. And we'll watch a forecast together, watch a premiere together, and you'll get to see what GavsWeatherVids are forecasting for the winter 2023-24 tomorrow. Less than 24 hours to go for that, and we'll be live then at 6 PM, and we'll discuss the winter forecast. We'll do a 10 to 14 there, and we'll probably include some long range in that as well. So that is the plan. But tomorrow, an epic weekend of content at GavsWeatherVids continues. So you enjoy the rest of your Saturday afternoon. Watch out for the potential for a little snow watch this evening. But for this one, that's all for now. And thanks for watching.